is one of the most aggressive Zergs I've ever seen, and that isn't something that you often see in the ZVT matchup work to great success. Pig brought up one time that I did see these players. He had 200 supply Roach Ravager on Lost and Found and really tried to break, in fact it was Acid Plant, and tried to break into Maru, who had 100 supply and lost everything. So yes, going off that loss against him a long time ago, he's definitely going to be looking for revenge in this one.
All right, here we are, map number 1. We're going to be playing on Kairos Junction, starting in the bottom right-hand side of the map, playing as the Blue Terran. It is Green Wings Maru.
And spawning over in the top left, one of the most aggressive Zergs I've ever seen. It is Leenock. You know, one of the... Oh, you go, you go.
A clash of styles, I guess we could say.
Absolutely. A multitask legend against an all-in machine. By the way, one really cool thing about Maru is he looks so bored, man, when he's playing, and he's just dominating souls. Like, one game that really stands out to me was him against Cyril on Eastwatch. From like a WSG, the game went on for like 30, 40 minutes. There was nukes everywhere, 4 nukes at a time and stuff. And after the game, unfazed, man. He just played one of the most beautiful games I've ever seen, kind of thing.
By the way, I still feel like we got robbed at the global finals because Maru last year won 3 GSL, Cyril won 4 WCS circuit tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
We were waiting for the Clash of the Titans. We were waiting for them to play. It never materialized because Maru kind of disappointed, whereas Cyril went on to win the whole thing against all the players. Now, in this tournament, there is a chance it might happen. I really do hope that we see that. But first and foremost, Maru needs to get back on track here. He started this group with a loss. He needs to go through Leenock. He needs to prove he's still the solid Terran that we know he can be.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like this, and it was Maru that was failing to meet up with Cyril. It wasn't the other way around. Cyril came out, won every tournament that he played in, always missing Maru. But the one chance that they got to play against each other was that best of one where Cyril picked himself and did tear Maru apart. Anyhow, this game's starting off very normal. There's no one-base shenanigans from Leenock. He did go for a decently quick gas, but this is after a hatch. So totally standard variations from them. Maru recently, by the way, he's been opting for this SCV Scout, which it's very safe. If you go for gas barracks, it means that you're going to be getting out a very fast factory, but you don't get that Marine out after the Reaper, meaning your defense at home. So he utilizes the SCV to actually halt the third base. And is he just going to be doing a Maru? Yeah, so already delaying the natural, or rather the third here of his Zerg opponent. And by the way, no other Terran does this. And that's because it is kind of risky. And I mean, your opponent can just do exactly what Leenock's doing, but this already throws off the pace of the game for the Zerg. Because
like, why is it so risky? What's the worst that can happen?
I guess you can just lose the SCV. The SCV gives you less mining overall. You're already starting off technically behind, but also you don't actually get to scout the main and the natural. So if your opponent did carry on scouting or mining gas, you could have roaches come to your base very shortly, and you're there thinking, yeah, I'm delaying this guy from a good macro game. So when a Zerg comes into this position where it's like, okay, I wanted to take the more safe third, and I've been forced into the more aggressive third, this can really showcase a Zerg's adaptability, because often when you go for this, you want to go for roaches. Like it really leads in that kind of style where you really want to bust a Terran with loads of roaches off 66 drones, that kind of thing.
It seemed like for a long time in Zerg versus Terran, the key point was Terran slowing down the Zerg, like in general, but in particular when they took their fourth base. If you could do that very well, then you would be met with success. What do you feel currently are like the key points in Terran versus Zerg where, like, you know, the game might go one way or another? What's the most important? Is there one in particular or a few, or?
There's just so many, Todd. I mean, Hellions, it can be like you can stop at 2, 4, 6, 8. Like ever since the transfusion nerf, actually, which people thought initially it wasn't too big a deal, but Hellbats came way into the fray because Queens, they're not as good at healing each other anymore. Oh wow, okay. That SCV got away with just one hit remaining.
Don't you dare try that.
Absolutely not. So more Hellions are joining the field. We do have a Liberator on the way too, a second Liberator as well in production. So this is that harass that we talked about earlier, in which a Terran is going to try his best to slow down his Zerg opponent. Now, normally you only opt for 1 air unit on your starport, but the fact that he's going for 2 here, even going around in a cheeky fashion here, I think this is because he wants to delay the creep spread to the 4th base, just making it more difficult. Oh, first person of Maru, you are spoiling me here,
Christmas
boys.
came early this year.
Oh, you know, you don't get to see this enough in tournaments. So Maru, utilizing the Hellions, well, just to deny creep and stuff where he can, getting this Liberator into a nice location here.
He's a little bit fast.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. You know, we might be the best Terran we've ever known. But getting up a third base behind this and obviously opting for Bio. So if you've ever wanted to see Bio out of the absolute best Bio player we've ever had, this is going to be the game.
He's not really achieving much damage so far. Everything's been defended like really well by Leenock, who's also creep spreading. Hey, he lost 1 Liberator, killed 2 drones, 1 Ling, and 1 Crypt Tumor.
So far, this is the slowdown game that we talked about that needs to happen. And look, Leenock's being very proactive about moving his spores too. If the Queen takes the first shots, then it's actually all right for Leenock. And again, the second Liberator thwarted. Liberators, I mean, Maru is getting, all his attacks are getting repelled, and now we're just holding down the drone key.
Yeah, and the creep spread got kick-started very strong here, so there's going to be a lot of vision to spot these Hellions coming in or any units with the addition of Overlords in the corners of the map on the left side and at the top as well.
One of the super beautiful things about Korean Terrans, though, even if all this harass goes as bad as possible, by the way, this is a nice choke point for these Hellions being utilized, but Leenock pulls back at the perfect time, doesn't really lose too many of those Lings. So far, an A-class game from Leenock. By the way, so we have tanks defensively, we have a third base moving out to the more defensive location. And by the way, this is really pivotal here, the Spire coming into play. This is because Leenock feels he's ahead in this game, and rightly so. He hasn't taken any damage. Mutas are not a comeback tool, but they are a stay even or stay ahead kind of weapon.
Yeah. It seemed for some time as well that like Spire could be really good if the opponent's playing with tanks as opposed to Widow Mines.
Absolutely.
And, against roaches or like, you know, full ground, you would rather want to get tanks. I feel like maybe it's a little bit less true. It's not as, you know, black and white as that, but still pretty good, I guess, going for Mutas, because if he catches him off guard, you know, like gets across the map, starts getting SCVs, that doesn't happen very often, but in Maru, I feel like he's not really focused on scouting exactly what Leenock's doing, so we'll see if he starts these turrets.
You can have those moments as well where you shut down 2 medevacs, you know, on their side of the map, and then a huge counter-attack happens. By the way, I always love this about Maru's play. The worker count, 60 to 65, despite killing barely anything. Often, his macro is super overlooked. That is absolutely one of his greatest features. If you always look at the mineral count at the bottom, it is always low when you are Maru. Oh, but this is a nice Ling run by Leenock, getting in, killing a tank immediately, and already killing quite a few SVs, even getting into the main here. Leenock's playing a fantastic game.
Yeah, and that was at a great timing where not only the wall was open, but there was no units there. Leenock with another run-by into the third base here. Maru reacting immediately by evacuating across the map. There's a lot of units. Let's see if Leenock has enough there.
And the Leenoktopus is everywhere, boys. 22 SCVs going down. Yeah, Maru killed a 4th, but he doesn't want to be in this kind of position. Leenock, can he afford anything right now? Can he afford mutas? I mean, his 3 bases haven't stopped from mining. This is a lot of queens, but no Baneling speed yet. Great focus fire on the Banelings with the tanks, and all the Zerglings and tanks go down. The supplies are getting pretty close now, but man, this is so scrappy on both sides.
Yeah, that was a very cost-effective fight for Maru, but I think Leenock just wanted to buy more time to get more units. Queens are getting in there. The tank gonna try to get away. 2-2 is already on the way as well for Leenock. If he can complete that, that would be great for him. Gonna make sure not to let that tank escape. And in the meantime, 28 SCVs killed here. Maru down to 49 walkers against 65, which actually is not that bad, right? He's still remaking them.
It's not that bad, but I mean, the main thing here is if this game carries on, this is going to be 2-2 against a 1-1 Terran. You never want to be in that kind of location. Even getting into the natural again here. I tell you what, this is the Leenock of all times, when he used to dominate the MLGs and the whole circuits outside of Korea. Man, all over Maru at this point.
Yeah, catching more and more SCVs. It feels like this is the perfect kind of game for him as well, like where he's just aggressive, fights all over the place. He thrives in this environment. Now 14 mutas on the way, burrows so that he can use these burrowed Banelings to try and blow up some of the army of Maru. And remember, he's still got pretty good creep spread for the most part on the top side, so that's gonna be extra vision that he's gonna have.
18 muta were in production just then. His 2-2 has finished, or rather, the plus attack is finishing up, but that is a lot. And the fact that he's been doing so well without the mutas, man, this spells trouble for Maru.
Is there any turret in the main base? I don't think so.
Does Maru even know about this? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I'm looking at Maru's face on this webcam over here because, yeah, pulling the SCVs away here, but they are met by a lot of mutas. And Leenock isn't slowing down at this point, by the way, taking a 4th and 5th base simultaneously, ahead in upgrades, ahead in workers, ahead in every regard. Maru he's holding on with what he has, but he doesn't have a lot.
Yeah, I like that Maru is going for a Thor immediately. He still has +2 attack on the way as well. And 11 more drones for Leenock. He feels confident enough to drone up a whole bunch. Look at the supply, the Muslim. He's starting to pull further and further ahead with this. And that Muta Cloud is so scary. Anywhere it flies, if there is just not enough units, it can do a lot of damage. Even there, like you see, flies in, kills a bunch of SCVs now. Gonna fly into that third base.
Yeah, I mean, Maru's boxing this in quite well. Gets quite a few mutas there. Juicy, juicy muta kills. But again, he has to get a lot more than that to get back into this game. Oh, this is almost bait, right?
Yeah.
And is it going to work? God. Is it going to work? Oh, this is rough. This is rough. Oh! A bait, and look at Maru smiling there. He's like, oh, darn, is this happening right now? I'm the best Terran in the world, and this is happening to me. Man. And look, that is so many Banelings, Todd.
Yeah, Maru, I don't know how he's supposed to defend this here. With what he has left, Leenock has been all over the place and is looking to strike the finishing blow there.
And the Banelings are rolling in, the Lings are rolling in. He has better upgrades, everything dying, and GG. Maru's 1-0 down against Leenock. Maru has yet to win a map in this tournament.
What is going on here? I think a lot of people expected Maru to get a pretty clear victory here, but
that's how it happened. That's what happens, and it paid off in dividends for Leenock. Man, this is something that I really didn't think I would see. I thought maybe the one guy that could really give Maru a run for his money in this group was Dark, given that they played in quite a lot of finals. I remember the 4-3 final WSG, but now 1-0 down against Leenock as well, and already you see something cheeky from him in this game.
Yeah, starting at the top left-hand side of the map here. Playing against the blue Terran, they're already sending some of his SCVs across the map. It is Maru.
There he is with his towel as well, following in the steps of Gumiho. And spawning in the southeast side as the Red Zerg, currently 1-0 up against Maru. It is Leenock.
Yeah, you mentioned Gumiho. We'll see him in action tomorrow, as we're gonna have 5 Terrans actually playing tomorrow. Today we only had 2, Special sadly not making it out of that Group A, taking 4th place.
We didn't see a lot of Terrans in the bracket stage qualify successfully, only Gumiho doing it. Is this going to skip by just the Overlord? Yes, it is. So maybe this was some studying by Maru, seeing the Overlord patterns, scout patterns, that is, by his opponent. But this is what Maru does, man. If you can talk about a player that does proxies well and also under pressure, it is this man.
Extractor before spawning pool, and a spawning pool on 17 here. So looking at the production tab here, how do you see this going right now for Maru?
This all depends on how greedy Leenock plays. And this Overlord that hasn't scouted anything, given that he did just play a macro game against Maru, but whenever you play against him, you always have to have in the back of your mind, this guy can literally do anything. And this is one of his trademark moves. When stuff goes bad, he starts proxying you. As for how is it going to go? Oh, if he sees this bunker with this Overlord, I think he's just... Okay, that's big, Leenock. And with a drone immediately pulled too. That was quick. That was almost a 6th Sensi going to the 3rd base.
Yeah, and the SCV happens to be on the wrong side as well, right? If it was at the top, it would be not possible to attack it. So that was some extra damage here that went on that SCV for a little bit. Leenock just leaving one single drone to work on that SCV that's building the bunker there, chasing the Marines and that one SCV with the rest, looking to try and go for a surround, and the bunker completes just before that was going to be sniped. He's going to try to zone out these Marines.
Yeah, now we have the situation. He doesn't want to let any Marines in that bunker. Maru can be looking at this still. He's macroing back at home, by the way. He's got a factory. He's still producing SCVs. This isn't an all-in. This is a Maru special where he macros behind this, because these drones, if we look at the income tab at this point in time, it is greatly in Maru's favor, despite being technically all-in. Gives up the bunker as well. Also a Maru special, just knowing, hey, I think I might have dealt enough damage still. My opponent did use those drones to halt me quite hard here. And now just being as annoying as possible. Once that spine's up, he's got to get out of dodge. Yeah. But he's getting a lot of Zergling kills.
So he didn't do any economic damage per se, like he didn't kill drones, but he forced the spine. He prevented a lot of mining. And now, because Maru took the guys behind this, he didn't commit everything to the proxy. He actually has a factory already finished. So he can now start his command center, fly back maybe one of those barracks. He's gonna fly one in by the look of things to try and get a scout going, and he goes for the starboard. And I wouldn't be surprised if it's a Banshee, right? Like a lot of the time here, that's what we're gonna see.
So some of the things that Terran has to worry about, yes, you get to scout with the barracks, but there are still things like Ravager pushers, Ling all-ins, so you get the Hellions to be safe and potentially slow down your opponent later on. You get a Banshee to be very safe against the Roach builds. All in all, though, Maru's going to be, after he scouts this base and he sees on through, he's going to be feeling pretty good. 25 workers to 25 workers. Yes, the Zerg will pull out, by the way. What a beautiful, sneaky Zergling, just to halt the production just a little bit. Yeah, that's nice by Leenock there. He's doing a lot of the right moves in this series, honestly. You could say that the drones were out and about for a bit too long, but
yeah.
The thing is, it's like a cannon rush, right? If you underestimate it just for one moment, you lose. And given that he's 1-0 up against Maru already, doesn't want to make any little mistake like that. So he played slightly overly defensive, but it worked out for him, honestly.
How do you like that he's going for 2 Hellions and a Medivac? I'm going to guess this is for an elevator in the main base.
So one of the ideas behind this is, I hope I delayed Zergling speed for long enough that I can get my Hellions in your main base, or in bases in general, without the Zerglings being able to capitalize on that. Unfortunately for him, Leenock was pretty fast about getting the gas. You talked about it. He had gas pool, and that speed is very close to finishing, but it also forces out Zerglings. If you don't see that medevac, and you don't have enough Lings, you can be in trouble. So the barracks is actually, I love this too. The barracks was utilized with the Marines to get those overlords that are spotting in his base and such. And Maru, 31 workers, a little supply lead against Leenock. Mate, you wouldn't even say this is a bad start for Maru at this point.
An armory now on the way for Hellbats, I'm gonna guess. So with the Banshee starting now and Cloak as well. Does he just play mech, I think, for that?
You can open mech. You can also opt for, like, you know when you get these builds where you have 8 Hellions. And this is a naked amount of drones here, boys. Only, okay. Whew. So a lot of damage was done to those Hellions, but that armory, with that medevac, you can land those 4 Hellions in the base later, convert them to Hellbats, and you can deal a lot of damage, especially if you send, what is this? The rest of this army over to the third of the Zerg. This is a really well-calculated knack. In fact, he's accumulating his forces here. This is a scary arc. How many Queens do we have on the field? He's 20 supply ahead of his opponent.
Yeah, 4 Queens and 9 Zerglings is Leenock's army right now. Not quite ready to take on this one.
Is he going for a Spire as well at this point?
Yeah, he needs more fighting units, but he's already behind in Walkers.
What's he going to do at this point? The Spine Crawler's in the main. It's almost like he's going to have to forego this third base and just give it up. Oh, he is getting on top of that medevac, but running away. And a Cloak Banshee shows up too.
Yeah, that was weird. That was move command here for a second. Link's going across the map, but I mean, this time Maru's on 2 bases, and I'm gonna guess his wall's ready.
It is ready, even with Hellions behind it, using the barracks to complete that wall too, so that's a nice use of that. 2
more factories on the way, another command center. Maru jumps on top of these Queens. The Links are not there because they were across the map fighting something else. The Spine actually goes down there.
But even if they were there, Todd, all he can do is pick off these Marines, which he's going to do. That's the perfect move with those Zerglings. But these Hellbats, they're going to take a while to be cleaned up. And then if they get on the mineral line, these Zerglings are going to have a rough time. This Banshee zoning out the Queens too. All the Zerglings dead now. 80 supply against 48.
I'm looking. Can we see the units lost? Like, this has been an absolute barbecue.
Oh my lord. And I tell you, Maru bringing it back in Maru fashion. We looked at that first game. It looked rather rough for Maru, but Maru, he was like, man, I'm playing against a pretty... Oh, and look, 6 Hellions show up too. This goes from bad to worse. Yeah, you're making mutas, mate, but Maru, he's killing everything that you've ever loved in this game.
Yeah, the barbecue shall go on. I'm gonna make some pierogies out of these drones. Oh. And Leenock just not... There's nothing he can do here. He just doesn't have the units. He's trying to squeeze out some mutalists, but even at this stage, Maru's just gonna spot these Star Thor production, and Leenock's economy is in shambles.
Oh, it's down to 5 workers against 55, Todd. At this point, it's not looking good for Leenock. I'm almost ready to see him tap out at this point. I don't think there's any comeback potential here.
Almost ready.
Supply. and 2 Thors on the way too.
Yeah.
So he's respecting the mutas, but he's just sending units across the map. He's just hoping to slow him down a little bit, continue his aggression. 36 drones killed.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Leenock's hoping for at this point. Like, maybe he thinks these mutas can transform into Guardians or something, but that's not gonna happen. Turret is close to finishing. That's actually a lot of SCVs down there. Thor will help and defend here against this.
And I mean, the mutas are getting damage done, but it's not enough. Maru ties up the series. His first map win of the tournament.
Very nicely played here. I like the Hellbats attack. It seemed like he completely caught Leenock off guard. Maybe Leenock thought that he was going to be a generic, you know, transition into bio. No,
he went 1-1, or rather, he lost 1-2 against Dark in this series already. Now he's up against Maru. I believe he started off both those series with a 1-0 victory as well. So if Leenock loses this one too, that's already a bit of a rough start. But if you are to lose to 2 players, those are the 2 in this group that you can potentially say are the safe ones to go out to. Now, we will be heading into the 3rd game of this series between Maru and Leenock, by the way, and spawning in the bottom right of Port Alexander, it is Maru. Already doing some cheeky stuff on the map, I did see.
And his opponent in the northwest, playing as the Red Zerg, it is Leenock.
Could this be the tournament that we finally get to see Maru against Serral? It absolutely could be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's been too many now. We've been deprived of that matchup for way too long now.
Yeah, they haven't played that often, and not for a long time.
The last time they played on Lantod was WESG Finals back in, what was that, February, March? A long time ago.
Yeah.
After that, it was just a best-of-1 series at GSL. But holy crap, the commitment to this. 3 barracks.
Caught you off guard with this one.
Slow down, big boy. Wait, that is so committed, though. And that is so Maru,
Is that going to be scouted? I mean, even if it is, that would be so late. Yeah, it's rallied on top of that. But, I mean, if you see that late, like he went for Extractor again and then spawning pulled in Leenock.
One beautiful thing about this, so you don't really want to reveal that your Overlord scouted it, right? And given the path that this going, he might actually scout the 2 racks and think it's only 2 racks. He might not even go over the 3rd rack.
Reveal, or
right.
You're afraid that his Overlord gets caught?
Yeah, well, not just caught, but you don't want to reveal that you've seen it.
Yeah.
Because then the Terran can react very differently. So depending on what he sees here, seeing the SCV though, seeing the Marine, I mean, he knows something is coming, but he doesn't know to what extent it's coming.
That's so sick.
It absolutely is.
It's a mind game in a mind game.
Absolutely. That's why you have the 3rd rack slightly behind there, just in case of that kind of stuff. And I mean, he cancelled the 3rd. Okay. This is strange now. I think Maru smells that this is way too easy.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be arriving here without a drone pull, without anything, because that's just not what happens.
So you like that, or?
Yes. One really bad thing, if you go 3 barracks and do this bunker rush, you end up with 0 gas production at home. Your production at home as well is very stunted. Then you end up with Ravagers, you can break out, deal damage. And I mean, this is going to get the damage done 2 racks or 3 racks. So beautiful decision-making from Maru here already in this series.
The last 2 games have been funny in their own way. It's almost like Maru saying, so you like to play aggressive, huh?
Absolutely. But
let's have a look.
A bit of a scary situation for Maru, like, given that he lost the macro game, like, so convincingly as well. Yeah. Now he's resort. But, I mean, Maru, when he plays a proxy game like this, it's also a macro game for him. Up to 22 workers right now. We won't see those SCVs slow down at any point. Also, by the way, he's still making Marines. He has killed the Natural. We do see Ravagers on the field. He's already getting home for defense. This is very smart play by Maru. Also, just putting 1 guy in each bunker just to make them look full. Now, Leenock is like, oh man, how many Marines do you have in these bad boys? And the answer is, he'll never know.
Yeah, one of these bunkers here was salvaged a second ago, and he starts a command center on location against a Leenock that starts a lair, which makes me think we might see a Nidus?
At this point, the patch is so new, we don't know how this goes. By the way, a very low health Ravager here. Maru is focusing on sniping it, because if you do shoot the Roaches, they can then morph. Oh, is he going to get it? That was a nice attempt, but good reaction by Leenock there. If you focus the Roaches, they can obviously morph into a Ravager, regain full health. So it's often not worth it. But Maru getting away, and if he gets to keep all those Marines alive too, getting the Natural up, because it's 27 workers against 17 right now.
So he's going for tanks, I guess, right? Knowing that there's Ravagers?
Could be tanks, could be Cyclones. So, like, one ability that Cyclone has over the tank is the fact that it can move outside of the piles, which is very handy.
Now that you can't pick up tanks anymore with Medivacs, it's like really tricky. Whenever I see them against Ravagers, I'm like, they're pretty good, right? Against ground. And then Ravagers come in, they're like, get out. It's a
fickle fight. And we do have a Nidus. We have a cancelled Natural
God.
2. This is smart by Leenock, because he knows his opponent won't have any fast units. There's not going to be a Reaper on the map. There's not going to be Hellions. Oh, The Maru special, is it going to work out this game regardless? He's going to go hunting for that, boys.
He's going to kill that, and that's going to supply block a little bit. I mean, Leenock did start 2 overlords, but he needs to be making units right now. Leenock is going to be all in here in a second. This Nidus needs to work. He needs to deal incredible damage. Let's see how Maru reacts to this, and if he even can spot it. I think we got an overseer here at the bottom.
Wait, a third CC? A third CC? I don't think he has any idea. Yeah. The medevac as well. This factory no longer producing tanks or anything. Yes, you're going to be getting Marines out, but this could be getting super dicey very, very quickly. It's out of vision. Oh my God, there's no bunker down either. 34, like these supplies are deceiving because that is 50 supply against 50 supply, but the army supply, and look, Maru, I want to see his face right now. Does it even change? Oh my gosh, third CC cancelled in the main. Not like this, Todd.
He's gonna get the bad news here. He immediately evacuates the main base. What is he supposed to do? He starts a bunch of bunkers, but he's gonna lose some of his production facilities instantaneously. Steam pack is gonna be cancelled. And Leenock, he can just stand on the high ground behind this and spam corrosive bite onto that mineral patches here with all the SCVs there.
What? So Maru has to get production up. He just lost all his production. The only thing that survived was the factory. What does he do with that? Well, he's getting a tech lab. So he has to either get Cyclones out, he has to get tanks out, he has to get something. He does have the ability to make Liberator, but Leenock getting on top of that mineral line, as you talked about, denies the bunker as well. So he can constantly deny mining from his opponent here.
So he's going to land at Command Center on the third base, and I think mine from there, but he needs like some sort of tanks and Liberators to make sure he can mine from the natural as well. Starts another barracks here around the third base. But the thing is, these Ravagers, they're going to keep on spamming corrosive bite, and it's so expensive to keep on repairing. The bunker gets one volleyed here.
Yeah, but now he can one-shot the bunkers. This is a scary number of Ravagers. He's not making any works at home. He's even getting link speed with this. I think that's just so he can continue to flood and wrap around.
Yeah.
And so the BIOS can really focus these units. Juicy, juicy hits, gets the medevac, gets the bunker. This is so dicey for Leenock. I mean, for Maru at this point.
One tank is almost out, but Leenock's not giving Maru any time here. Keeps on jumping on top of his unit, spamming the corrosive bites and doing as much damage as he can. Already 11 SCVs have died, but Maru's still ahead with 28 against 18 walkers.
Oh, keeps the factory alive, but
he has one tank.
Yeah, but can he siege up?
If he could get that Banshee, that'd be huge, but I think Leenock's not going to give him the time to get that Banshee. That would have been so good.
Really smart by Leenock to focus that down. And Maru pulling back and yet again making so many bunkers on his third base. 3 at a time. Maru is like a cockroach at this point. He doesn't want to die. His life is on the line. Going down 0-2 in this tournament, that is something nobody expected. Okay, he's using the SCVs to try and block, to keep the tank alive so the roaches don't get close. But that was a lot of SCVs that went down. But he is still ahead in workers. He still has 2 orbital commands here. He can still make it out of this game.
Yeah, Leenock didn't even really drone behind this. He's still on 20 walkers against 26.
He's so all in. He is so all in.
I mean, he's droning up now a little bit and starting another Nidus, but he needs to do more damage. I don't think this has been enough.
Another Nidus, by the way, Todd, and this is coming in from the other side. And Maru, that tank is rather vulnerable here if he comes in from the top side. Oh, he did reposition the tank. Maru so smart in recognizing this, making another bunker in the north side. A second tank is on the way. He sees that he is extremely all in. Drones have not been made yet. Maru, please survive.
Yeah, that tank is too far away here to be able to shoot onto that. The factory goes down. Where's the Liberator? He has only that one single tank, which I think he's about to get corrosive bite here. SCV is trying to help as much as they can. Bunkers are the only thing that are left over here for Maru, and there might just be too much. 58 supply against 27.
Leenock's doing it here. All the bunkers down, just one remaining at the south part, but he can't make anything. A Banshee is kind of being produced here, but it's a long way from coming out onto the field. And that, my friends, is the face of a Terran that knows he's going down, and the bunker, the last bunker falls. Maru, GG's out against Leenock, and Leenock a little bit of a fist pump there. Man, wow. These are results that I didn't expect. Is this another tournament that Maru comes out to where he doesn't make it?
That would be sad, but Leenock played so well. He shifted position all over the place. His army movement was perfect. His decision-making on what to prioritize and target. If he had done that just a little bit worse, I feel like Maru would have been allowed to maybe squeeze out, one more tank, one more Liberator, which would have changed everything here with the defense.
If we're super critical about Maru there,